Hello everyone. This is the 29th part of the story, Blade God of Blood, Chapter 57 Demon of Earth. You want battle armor, it must be to pick up girls. I think a sports car is more suitable for you. Ivan said again. This car can let you soak in more than 70% of the beauties in this world. I think it's 90%. Bert laughed and he said, Ivan, well done. By the way, can you design it again so that the car can be transformed into a battle armor, just like the Autobots? Autobot? You have a big brain. Although there are no Transformers comics in this world, Ivan thought about it for a while and knew what Bert wanted. He shook his head and said, It's too complicated. I don't have time to do this. I have to design a new suit. Forget about it. Bert didn't care, he warned. Ivan, you have to work harder on the abomination armor. It will be our ultimate weapon. I understand. I will design a large armor that can destroy aircraft carriers. Ivan said excitedly. As a Russian, he was quite interested in destroying the aircraft carrier. Bert said, Then I'll trouble you. I'll be out for a few months. You can do it yourself. Call me if you want anything. Ivan glanced at Bert and asked, Aren't you afraid that I will consume too much money? It doesn't matter, anyway. I can't spend too much money, and your speed of burning money shouldn't be as fast as I can make money. Bert laughed. With his current capital and the memories of his previous life, it was too easy to make money. That is to say, there is a bug called Black Panther in the Marvel world, otherwise Bert will be the richest man in the world. Sooner or later, the vibranium mountain of Wakanda will be taken away. It's too unpleasant. Bert thought to himself. You rock! Ivan laughed and was very satisfied with Bert's delegating power. It was worth his time to make this flying sports car. Of course. Bert smiled and said to Frank, Frank, prepare yourself. I will go to Texas to kill the devil in a few days. Devil? After the ninja, the monster, is it the devil's turn now? Frank was speechless. This $1 million annual salary is not easy to earn. It seems that the salary has to be increased. Next, there are gods and aliens, Bert said. The future is very difficult, but also very exciting. Then we are waiting. Both Ivan and Frank laughed excitedly. People like them yearn for battle in their bones. In a second-floor cabin in Houston, Texas, S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Phil Coulson was using a telescope to monitor Damon, who was sitting in an outdoor cafe and playing with his cell phone. With the strength of S.H.I.E.L.D., it is not difficult to find Damon. The target goes to various cities every morning to inquire about the news of the Phantom Rider. At noon, he will leave the crowded places and go to the mountains or deserts to hide. He should be afraid of becoming a ghost rider. Coulson put down the binoculars and muttered to himself with a voice recorder. In addition, the goal is to gain control of the mobile phone, and the mobile phone has not left his body. According to the page, he should be tweeting. Speaking of which, Coulson was a little speechless. Does such a cool ghost rider tweet every day? This style doesn't fit at all, does it? A freshman agent suggested to Coulson, Hey, we can get Twitter to give us the data so we can understand the target better. Coulson said, The boss of Twitter will not give us the data. The agent was puzzled. Does he dare not to give it? Coulson shook his head. The new agents always thought that S.H.I.E.L.D. was the biggest, but they didn't know that S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't as powerful as they thought. For example, the boss of Twitter wouldn't care about S.H.I.E.L.D. Coulson waved his hand and said, Needless to say, how's the news about the evil spirit police? Note: the old Ghost Rider will be mentioned as Phantom Rider to make it easy. Phantom Rider is the name of several Old West heroic gunfighter characters appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. The character was originally called Ghost Rider and was renamed following the introduction of Marvel's motorcycle riding character of the same name. Note end. Another agent said, There are many legends about the Phantom Rider, but most of them are false. We need a little time to analyze and verify. Coulson said, Do it as soon as possible. The news of the Phantom can help us gain the goodwill of the target. The former agent asked, Hey, the target can't transform during the day, right? Why don't we take him back and lock him up during the day? No hurry, just observe first, Coulson said with a smile, but he gave the new agent a failing grade in his heart. He was too impatient, too self-righteous, and more importantly, questioned his boss one after another, and was completely unsuitable to be a field agent. In the outdoor cafe, Damon kept checking his phone while waiting for someone to see if Mindy had posted a new tweet. If so, he would like the post, as soon as possible to let his daughter know that his father had been following her. Speaking of which, during this time, Mindy's tweets were all about the same thing: school is so boring, her classmates are so stupid, etc. She doesn't want to go to school at all, and she even wants to play truant. Twitter's owner is your master. You posted on it that you wanted to play truant, didn't you cast yourself in the net? Damon secretly complained. At this moment, he sensed the danger and ran away from the chair as fast as he could. The next moment, the chair was pierced by a sharp earth cone that came out of the ground, and then it was torn apart. Seeing that he missed the target, the black hand behind the scenes directly controlled the ground to vibrate. The square umbrella, tables, and chairs in the cafe collapsed with the vibration. Damon was just pressed down by a square umbrella. Ah, there's an earthquake! The people around were frightened and fled everywhere. When Coulson saw something was wrong, he immediately took a few agents downstairs and rushed towards the cafe. After the behind-the-scenes black hand used the square umbrella to overwhelm Damon, he immediately controlled the mud under Damon to turn into a long spear and stab upwards. Damon shouted, and a raging fire erupted from his body. Whether it was the square umbrella or the mud spear, all turned to ashes. As soon as the umbrella was burned, the sun shone on Damon again. He screamed, the fire of hell disappeared, and his body quickly returned to its original shape. Under the sun, Ghost Rider cannot transform. The concrete ground in front of Damon suddenly cracked, and then, a large amount of dirt flew out, forming an ugly native. He laughed and said, Mephisto's knights are nothing more than that. Who are you? Damon asked angrily, and at the same time quietly sent a distress signal on his mobile phone to the guy he made an appointment to meet here before. I am the Earth Demon, and I was ordered to kill you. Earth Demon pushed forward, and more than a dozen spears sprang from the ground to stab Damon. Damon backed away, then turned and fled towards the dark alley next to him. Earth Demon immediately chased after him, and he grabbed 2 mud spears and threw them at Damon. Seeing that Damon was about to reach the dark place, Earth Demon stomped the ground with his right foot. The ground shook, the wall in front of the left exploded with a bang, and a large amount of earth and rocks flew towards Damon. It hit him, making him fall to the ground. Earth Demon raised his mud spear and planned to kill Damon. At this moment, several people next to him shot him at the same time, and the bullets punched his mud body one after another. Earth Demon turned his head and saw several men in suits attacking him. He smiled disdainfully, raised his left hand, and several spears shot out from the soil. Except for Coulson, who escaped in time, the other 3 agents were all penetrated by it. However, none of them died, and the Earth Demons seemed to have avoided the key point on purpose. Fuck! Coulson was furious. This is not an opponent they can deal with at all. After the 3 SHIELD agents were severely injured, the Earth Demon ignored them and turned his attention back to Damon. Damon had already climbed up at this time, clutching his chest and fleeing outside. It's useless, you're dead. Earth Demon gave a grim smile. He was about to attack again. A sniper bullet fell from the sky, smashing his clay body to pieces. Immediately afterward, a camouflage armor slowly fell from the sky and said to Damon, Mr. McCready, are you all right? Bert sent you here? Damon breathed a sigh of relief. At this time, he sensed something and hurriedly shouted, Be careful, he's not dead yet, and don't step on the ground. Before Damon could speak, more than a dozen dirt spears flew out of the ground and shot at Hero 2, armor name. Frank smiled disdainfully and activated the Gatling machine gun on his arm to shoot, and all the dirt spears were smashed to pieces. Not only that, the earth demon who had just gathered was shattered again, and he was so angry that he cursed in his heart. Frank stopped the machine gun and asked, "Is he dead now?" Answering Frank was the reincarnated earth demon, who shouted, "I am a demon, and you humans will pay for what you have done!" Frank shattered him again with one shot, then asked Damon, "Is this a demon? How to kill it?" Damon said helplessly, "I don't know, it's the first time, no, the second time I see the devil or demon." The earth demon who had been smashed several times in a row angrily controlled the earth and turned it into a huge palm and swept toward Hero 2. Frank snorted coldly. His Gatling machine guns were fired at the same time, and 2 missile launchers were erected on his shoulders, whistling. Slammed into the mud giant palm. Boom, the entire palm of the earth was smashed, and the earth crashed down. Damon and Coulson hurriedly avoided it. Frank's firepower was fierce. Earth Demon became angrier, and he forgot about Damon's existence. He kept controlling the soil to form a spear and shot at Frank. Frank's whole armor was full of weapons. If he was shooting frantically, the surrounding area would almost be smashed into ruins. Fortunately, all the people on this street had fled before, otherwise, the casualties would have been heavy. At this time, a voice suddenly sounded next to Damon and Coulson. "It seems that we are going to lose money again. Coulson, can you shield share a little bit?" The two turned their heads and were overjoyed to see Bert coming at an unknown time. Coulson hurriedly said, "Mr. Wang, can you solve this demon?" Bert said, "It's not easy to solve, let the Ghost Rider come." Damon smiled bitterly. "Now the sun is so fierce, I can't change my body." "Don't worry, I'm prepared, the cars should be coming soon." Bert laughed. As soon as he finished speaking, a big truck drove over. Bert brought Damon and the others to the back of the truck, opened the door, and there was tattered armor, which is a Hero 1. "Mr. Wang, can this battle armor still be used?" Coulson was stunned. This should be put into a museum exhibition, right? If no chains are holding it together, this battle armor will fall apart directly? "Others can't use it, Damon can." Bert smiled and said, "Damon, go put on the battle armor and deal with that earth demon. From the very beginning, I wanted you to demonize the battle armor." "Demonized battle armor? This is a good idea." Damon excitedly climbed into the trunk and put his flaming hand on Hero 1. As the fire spreads over the whole body of Hero 1, the armor is not only repaired quickly but also becomes more powerful and hideous in appearance. Immediately afterward, Hero 1 disintegrated automatically and flew to Damon to re-equip it. Damon roared excitedly, broke through the roof with the burning Hero 1, and flew toward Earth Demon. "I can understand your excitement. Why did you break my roof? What did the roof do wrong?" Bert was speechless, and Coulson smiled. "With the battle armor, even the sun can't stop the Ghost Rider. Under the sun, Ghost Rider's flames will weaken, but it should be enough to deal with Earth Demon," Bert said. At the same time, Ghost Rider flew over the battlefield. Without saying a word, he picked up the fire chain and slammed it down hard, and the chain directly sank into the ground and went all the way down. Immediately afterward, Ghost Rider pulled the chain up hard, the ground shattered, and a native was pulled up by him abruptly. That was the body of the Earth Demon. The previous ones were clones, so they could keep resurrecting. Frank ceased fire unhappily. This profession is different, and it was done in one fell swoop. Earth Demon, who was burned by the fire of hell, let out a shrill scream, and his body melted at a speed visible to the naked eye. He begged, "Forgive me, please, forgive me." "I won't forgive you." Ghost Rider was about to burn Earth Demon to death, when Bert shouted, "Damon, spare his life. I will send him to the laboratory for research and see what a demon is like." Coulson hurriedly said, "Mr. Wang, S.H.I.E.L.D. can help to study together." Bert glanced at Coulson and said, "This is my trophy." Coulson sneered and didn't dare to say anything. Ghost Rider shouted dissatisfiedly, "Sin, all should be judged, he and you all. Looks like it's on top." Bert took out a controller and pressed it, and the battle armor on the Ghost Rider disintegrated and fell. Ghost Rider, who was still majestic just now, was illuminated by the sun, and immediately returned to his original shape and fell down. Earth Demon was also freed because of this. Just as he was about to escape, Bert said, "If I were you, I would not escape, because my kindness is only once." Earth Demon froze. He looked at Bert with a hesitant expression. To escape, or not to escape, this is the question. After a while, Earth Demon made a decision. He raised his hand and said, "I surrender, however, I demand prisoner treatment." "Do you still know the treatment of prisoners?" Bert was surprised. He raised his hand and pointed at the Earth Demon, and a ray of blood flew into his chest, locking his core of strength like a chain. "Are you a vampire?" Earth Demon was taken aback, and he secretly rejoiced in his heart that fortunately, he did not escape, otherwise he would be dead. Bert put down his hand and said, "Call me Blood God. Can you change your appearance? This appearance is so ugly." "Of course. I've been living among humans all the time." Earth Demon nodded, his body flashed with yellow light, and he turned into a bald man. Then, he said flatteringly, "Blood God, I'm Gressel, Demon of Earth, Earth Demon, I can work for you." "Is this a demon?" Frank was greatly disappointed, as was Damon, who got up. The demon they imagined was not so greedy for life and fear of death. Chapter 58 Carter Slade. Note: Gressel Earth Demon, Abigor Wind Demon, Wallow Water Demon. Note end. "Work for me?" Bert thought for a while and asked Gressel, "I seem to have heard a saying somewhere that you elemental demons are fallen angels." "Angel?" Everyone was shocked. This guy was an angel before? Gressel nodded bitterly and said, "I used to be an angel. I followed the Archangel Michael. Later, I rebelled and was driven out of heaven by Michael to become an exiled demon." Coulson asked excitedly, "In other words, does heaven exist?" Gressel glanced at Coulson and said, "Of course it exists, but it's completely different from what you think. Let's talk later, let's get out of here first, so as not to be entangled by the media and the police. Coulson, call and find someone to deal with the matter here," Bert said. "The bill is sent to the Watchman Company." Coulson is speechless. "You are a vampire, is it correct to command S.H.I.E.L.D.? People who don't know will think you are the top of S.H.I.E.L.D. However, Coulson did not refuse. He walked to the side to make a phone call, and Bert turned to Frank and shouted, "Frank, put Hero 1 back in the trunk." "Okay." Frank nodded and started to work. Damon looked at Hero 1 with bright eyes, but he didn't ask Bert for it, because he knew he couldn't afford it. For $500 million, how many rascals does he have to rob? Bert said, "Leave first, I have found the Phantom Rider." "Really?" Damon was overjoyed. Soon, everyone packed up and drove away from there. Among them, Frank drove the big truck, while the others, including Gressel, got into Bert's silver-white sports car. It is worth mentioning that Frank's Hero 2 has been modified so that it can be opened directly from the middle and no longer needs special machine assistance. Coulson sat in the back seat and asked in surprise, "Mr. Wong, your sports car is not ordinary. There is no vibration at all." Bert laughed. "Of course, it's not ordinary. This car is worth $500 million US. $500 million? Both Coulson and Damon were taken aback, and even Gressel was no exception. The value of this car was comparable to battle armor. Seeing Gressel's expression in the rearview mirror, Bert asked inexplicably, "It's okay if other people are surprised, Gressel. What are you surprised about? Demons don't need money, right? How can I live without money? Although I don't need to buy food, I have to pay water bills, electricity bills, internet bills, and that damn rent every month." Gressel complained, "You humans are too dark. You exploit me when you know I have no identity. You don't even pay me the minimum wage. Compared to me, you are the real demons." "Okay?" Bert and the others were full of question marks. "Aren't you a demon?" how did you become an illegal worker? Damon couldn't help but ask. Isn't it right, you are so strong, how could you be exploited by humans? My ability is very strong, but do I dare to use it? When I first came to the world I was arrogant for a while, but Kamartaj's mage chased me down half the earth with 2 space knives. Gressel sighed and said, After that, I didn't dare to use my abilities anymore, and I honestly acted like an ordinary person, lest I be found by Kamartaj again. Is Kamartaj's mage so cruel? Coulson clicked his tongue. They turned a demon into an illegal laborer? While this is reassuring from a human perspective, it's not good news from a Shield perspective. After all, Shield likes to be in control. Bert smiled and said, If Kamartaj wasn't cruel, how could the earth be so peaceful? Damon thought of something and asked, Wait, that's not right. You used your ability to hunt me down before, didn't you use it quite happily? That's because I found a backer, and his power can prevent me from being discovered by Kamartaj, Gressel said. However, I don't dare to be too arrogant, otherwise the former agents wouldn't have been just injured. Only then did Coulson understand why Gressel was merciful before, and he was more and more amazed at the deterrent power of Kamartaj. Bert asked, Who is your backer? He asked you to kill Damon? Gressel answered honestly, My backer is Blackheart, the son of Mephisto. Damon was confused. I'm a knight of Mephisto, why Blackheart wants to kill me? Because the Blackheart wants to snatch the contract and build a new hell on earth. I saw him destroy Mephisto's projection with my own eyes. Gressel replied, Demons don't talk about family affection. What the Blackheart wants to kill most is Mephisto, otherwise, he can only be a prince for a lifetime. Bert asked, How many people does Blackheart have? Besides me, there are also Demon of Water Wallow, and Demon of Wind Abigor. Gressel said, Because of the existence of the 3 major temples, Blackheart cannot enter the earth easily, so Blackheart came to us and gave us a lot of benefits. We lived too hard, so we decided to make a deal with him. Gressel remembered the current situation and said dejectedly, As a result, I fell into your hands as soon as I made a move. If I knew earlier, I might as well continue to be an illegal worker. Hey, my rent for this month has not been paid yet. The damn landlord will increase it again. Everyone was speechless, feeling that the 3 views were about to be shattered. This is a demon, can you believe it? Coulson couldn't help but ask. The demons can't come in, how can you and Blackheart come? You are also a demon! The protection net formed by the 3 temples will not intercept weak lives. Gressel explained. When we were expelled from heaven, we were only weak souls, so the protection net did not stop us. Later, we merged with the elements on the earth and became elemental demons, which is what we have now. As for the Blackheart, I don't know how he did it. Not only could he come in by himself, but he can also prevent us from being discovered when we do it. Like this time? Coulson's face was a little ugly. Doesn't that mean that the Blackheart can summon a large number of demons to the earth at any time? Gressel shook his head. No, if he has this ability, why would he need to ask us 3 demons for help? Bert asked. Wallow and Abigor are also illegal workers like you. Abigor is similar to me. I work at the construction site. He is in charge of delivering the courier. He often complains that those people don't give tips. Gressel said. As for the Wallow, he has been hiding in a swamp as an otaku, and he usually picks up things that humans don't want to use. To be honest, human things are really interesting, such as comics, novels, etc. I can't help but buy them every time. Abigor likes to watch movies, and spends all night watching cinemas. You are not 3 demons, you are 3 per demons. Damon couldn't help but complain, these 3 guys are the shame of the demon. What can I do? If I don't keep a low profile, my only end is to be hacked to death by Kamartaj. Gressel said helplessly. You don't know how cruel Kamartaj is, especially the Sorcerer Supreme. Back then, even the Lord of Hell and the Archangel chose to back down in front of her and no longer continue to use Earth as a battlefield. Coulson was stunned. The Sorcerer Supreme is so powerful? What is it like? Gressel said. What is it like? How can I, a soldier, know? Is that so? Bert thought for a while, and said to Gressel. Officially introduce, I'm Bert, the chairman of the Blood God Group and the Oscorp, one of the richest men in the world. The Oscorp that makes the suits? No wonder you can dispatch so many suits. Gressel was stunned for a moment, then said excitedly, Mr. Wang, I want to work for you. No, please give me this chance. Damon couldn't help but turn his head. This is too embarrassing, isn't it? Bert said. Sincereness is commendable. Okay, just follow me in the future. Mr. Wang, Coulson hurriedly said. This is not safe. Bert said. If he makes any accident, I'm responsible. Thank you, boss. Gressel was overjoyed. At this moment, he thought of something and asked hesitantly, Boss, can you help me hide from Camartage? The power that Blackheart gave me can only last for a while. Bert said, Small problem, I will give you a temporary government, or shield status. Camartage has never interfered in worldly affairs. Seeing that you have been incorporated by humans, they will not hunt you down. Coulson glanced at Bert helplessly. Shield really doesn't run by your family. This is fine. Gressel was overjoyed, he said. Boss, if you have something to do in the future, just give me the minimum wage. Everyone was speechless. The requirements are really low. Bert said, Don't worry, I can't lose you. You can control the soil. This ability will come in handy in the future. In the not-too-distant future, Manhattan will be ravaged by aliens. This demon can be engaged in construction. It is a huge profit. That's great, boss. I can help you persuade the Wallow and the Abigor. We had no way to disobey the Blackheart before. Now that you are the big boss, we have nothing to do with him. Gressel said excitedly. Blackheart has no future at first sight. His father has been in the business for so many years and can't fight the Supreme Mage, let alone him. Coulson looked at Gressel speechlessly. Didn't you say that the Blackheart is your backer? Damon couldn't help but shake his head. This Blackheart is pitiful. He finally found 3 subordinates, but all 3 turned out to be rebels. Bert said. Then you can persuade them to surrender. If you can successfully persuade them, I will reward you with a new mobile phone from Oscorp that hasn't been launched yet. Boss, I will not disappoint you. Gressel said happily. It's a pity that my mobile phone was destroyed before, otherwise I can persuade them to surrender now. Coulson looked at Gressel and wanted to tell him that if he was willing to come to S.H.I.E.L.D., let alone 1 mobile phone, even 2, they would also be willing to give it. Of course, Coulson didn't say anything in the end. After all, when it comes to throwing money, they can't beat the dead tyrant Bert. Bert thought of something and asked, By the way, what did you mean when you said that the Blackheart is looking for a contract? In Texas, there was a village called San Venganza, and the whole village believed in God. Mephisto set up a trick to make them kill each other. In the end, the whole village died, and their souls turned into corrupted souls, unable to leave the village, unable to go to heaven, and perish forever. Gressel introduced. The contract of San Venganza is the contract between Mephisto and those villagers. As long as you hold this contract, you can take away all the corrupted souls there. More than 100 years ago, after the successful design, Mephisto sent the Ghost Rider to the village of San Venganza to collect corrupted souls. Who knew that the Ghost Rider felt that all this was too evil and ran away with the contract of San Venganza? Mephisto's plan, and thus falls short. What Blackheart wanted was those thousands of corrupted souls. He told us that once he got these thousands of corrupted souls, he could create a new hell in the world, and then he would be the new king of hell. Create a new hell on Earth? Coulson took a deep breath. Although there are still many things he can't figure out, this matter, Blackheart will not succeed. Do thousands of corrupted souls have such a big effect? Bert asked suspiciously. It was only 1,000 souls, and it was not difficult to obtain. Gressel shook his head. I'm not too sure. Blackheart said that those corrupted souls are extraordinary. In short, we can't let the Blackheart succeed, Damon said. Bert, did you really find the Phantom Rider? I've been looking for months and haven't found it. Coulson also looked at Bert. Bert shrugged and said, "What's so difficult about this? Post a bounty on Twitter to collect the legend of the Phantom Rider, and then find a group of intelligence experts to analyze the reports. Finally, after obtaining information on the Phantom Rider from more than 100 years ago in Texas, and referring to each other, we can analyze who is the Phantom Rider." After a pause, Bert continued, "After analyzing the identity of the Phantom Rider, I will offer a reward to find his identity, and analyze them one by one. As long as the luck is not too bad, I will find it." Damon and Coulson were both shocked. "Is this possible?" "Of course. The Phantom Rider's name is Carter Slade, a mounted policeman from more than 150 years ago," Bert said. "In a cemetery near Houston, Carter Slade's tomb was discovered, and that tomb has been maintained, which shows that Carter Slade is hiding there. Besides himself, who else would remember a person from more than 150 years ago? You know, he has no descendants." "Reasonable." Damon sighed. If the police had such resources and manpower, would they still be afraid of not being able to solve the case? Damon asked. "Where's that cemetery?" Bert smiled and said, "We will be there soon." There was a certain cemetery outside the city. Frank was guarding outside. Bert and the others strode in, and a tomb keeper with a shovel saw Bert and Gressel and cursed loudly. "Dirty thing, get out of here!" "It seems that this is the goal. It's really simple." Bert smiled and said to the tomb keeper, "I bought this piece of land a few days ago, so you are not qualified to drive me away. On the contrary, I can drive you away at any time, Carter Slade." The old cowboy Carter Slade's expression changed, and he shouted, "Who is Carter Slade? Also, this land belongs to no one. Stop pretending. There are demons, Shield, and Ghost Rider here. You can't pretend." Bert took out a top Cuban cigar from his arms and threw it to the other party, saying, "Smoke a cigar, let's talk, don't worry, we are not enemies." Carter Slade caught the cigar and said unhappily, "How did you find me? I hid it for over 100 years, and even Mephisto couldn't find me." "Mephisto doesn't know how to use a cell phone." Bert smiled and said, "Let's talk when you enter the room." "Okay, come with me." Slade didn't talk nonsense. He carried the shovel and led the crowd to his house. Note: Blackheart came to Earth to find the contract of San Venganza so he can absorb the 1,000 lost souls within it to make him more powerful. He teams up with 3 other demons, named Gressel, Demon of Earth, Abigor, Demon of Wind, and Wallow, Demon of Water. Note end. This marks the end of part 29 of the story, Blade God of Blood. Thank you for listening. Please like the video and hit the subscribe button to listen more. Hit the bell icon to get notified of all the new content uploaded to the channel ASAP.